TikTok is blowing up with over 1 billion users hooked on its endless scroll of videos. But some people are calling it a threat to national security. The US says TikTok collects too much data and might be used for spying or propaganda. Sounds scary, right? But here's the thing, aren't all social media apps tracking us? So why is TikTok in the crosshairs? Is this about keeping us safe, or is there more to this story? Let's break it down and find out what's really going on behind the TikTok ban debate. TikTok and data collection. Let's start with the facts. TikTok is addictive, plain and simple. It's designed to keep you scrolling, and it's scary how good it is at it. TikTok's algorithm tracks every move you make, the videos you like, how long you watch, even what you skip. All this data helps TikTok feed you more of what you love, making it almost impossible to stop. That's why some call it the cocaine of social media. But this obsession isn't just harmless fun. TikTok collects way more data than you might think. It knows your location, what device you're using, and even scans your clipboard. Yes, it can see what you copy and paste. Critics argue this is more than just an invasion of privacy. They claim TikTok might be sharing all this information with the Chinese government. The company behind TikTok, ByteDance, says they don't hand over data. They'd even moved American user data to servers in the US, but skeptics aren't convinced. And it's not just about your personal data. Governments worry that TikTok could track patterns and trends across millions of users, data that could be used for influence or even cyber warfare. So is TikTok really the worst offender? Not exactly. Other apps like Facebook and Instagram collect similar data, but TikTok is different because of its connection to China. And that's where things get complicated. Is this about privacy or politics? As we dig deeper, the fears go beyond just data. Censorship claims and propaganda fears. Here's where it gets even messier. TikTok isn't just accused of spying. It's also accused of pushing propaganda and censoring content. Think about it. TikTok is a Chinese-owned platform, and China has strict rules about what can and can't be said. Some experts worry TikTok could quietly promote content that fits China's agenda while suppressing things that don't. For example, there have been reports of TikTok censoring videos about sensitive topics like the Hong Kong protests or criticism of the Chinese government. TikTok denies these claims, but it's hard to ignore the possibility, especially when so much of the platform's content is shaped by algorithms we don't fully understand. It's not just about what's being censored, it's about what might be amplified. Imagine a platform where certain political ideas are quietly boosted to millions of users. In the US, critics fear TikTok could influence elections or spread misinformation. And it's not just a theory. Remember when TikTok users reportedly disrupted a political rally by reserving thousands of seats they didn't plan to use? Events like these fuel fears that TikTok can manipulate public opinion. But here's the twist. TikTok isn't the only platform accused of this. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter have all faced similar accusations. So why does TikTok get the spotlight? It all circles back to its Chinese ownership. Some say these fears are less about real threats and more about the ongoing rivalry between the US and China. So is TikTok a secret tool for propaganda, or is it being unfairly targeted because of its origins? That's the million-dollar question. Let's keep peeling back the layers to see what's really at stake. The xenophobia and business rivalry angle. Now let's step back and look at this from another angle. What if the TikTok controversy isn't just about privacy or propaganda? Some experts believe there's also a big dose of xenophobia involved. After all, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company, ByteDance, and that fact alone makes it an easy target. China and the US are global rivals, especially in tech and business. TikTok's success is seen as a threat to American tech giants like Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. These companies have dominated social media for years, but TikTok is taking their spotlight. It's the most downloaded app in the world, and its influence has grown fast. For American businesses, that's a problem. It's not just about competition, it's also about control. If an American company owned TikTok, would we see the same level of scrutiny? Probably not. Many believe the push to ban TikTok or force it to sell to a US company is more about keeping power in American hands than protecting users. This isn't to say there aren't real concerns about TikTok, but the way it's being singled out raises eyebrows. Critics point out that Facebook and Instagram also collect massive amounts of user data and face accusations of censorship and manipulation. Yet they don't face the same level of government scrutiny. So is TikTok a national security threat, or is it caught in a bigger game of politics and business rivalry? Maybe it's a little bit of both. TikTok's popularity versus US competitors. TikTok isn't just another social media app, it's a global phenomenon. Its short videos, catchy trends, and powerful algorithm have made it wildly popular, especially among Gen Z. In fact, TikTok has over 1 billion active users worldwide. That's no small number, and it's a big reason why US competitors like Facebook and Instagram feel threatened. Let's talk about the dollars and cents behind a TikTok ban. With over 150 million American users, TikTok isn't just a social media platform, it's a giant marketplace. Small businesses and influencers rely on TikTok to market their products, reach new customers, and build brand awareness. In fact, a 2023 report found that nearly 60% of small business owners who use TikTok say it helped them grow their sales, some by up to 20%. For creators, TikTok isn't just fun, it's their paycheck. The TikTok Creator Fund and brand deals allow influencers to earn a living. If TikTok gets banned, we're looking at thousands of businesses and creators losing their income overnight. And then there's the consumer side. Companies spend billions on TikTok ads targeting younger audiences. If TikTok disappears, advertisers will scramble to find new ways to reach this audience. Users spend hours scrolling, making TikTok one of the stickiest apps out there. For companies like Meta, which owns Facebook and Instagram, that's a nightmare. This is why we've seen apps like Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts popping up. They're basically TikTok clones, trying to win back the audience TikTok stole. But here's the catch, they're not as good. TikTok's algorithm is so fine-tuned that it knows exactly what you want to see, often before you even know it yourself. The truth is, TikTok has changed the game. It's not just a threat to American companies, it's forcing them to adapt. And whether or not TikTok survives the controversy, one thing is clear, it's reshaping the future of social media. The question now is, will its competitors catch up, or is TikTok here to stay? Bigger issue, America's lack of privacy laws. Here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. TikTok might not even be the real problem. The bigger issue is America's weak privacy laws. Think about it, almost every app you use collects your data. Whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Google, or TikTok, they're all tracking what you like, where you go, and what you do online. The difference? Most of those companies are American, so we tend to overlook it. Unlike many other countries, the US doesn't have strong laws to protect user data. In Europe, for example, the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, gives users way more control over their data and forces companies to follow strict rules. In America, it's kind of a free-for-all. Companies can gather and use your data in ways you probably don't even know about. So, banning TikTok might make some people feel safer, but it doesn't fix the real problem. Even if TikTok disappears, your data is still up for grabs. If we're serious about protecting privacy, the US needs to focus on creating strong laws that apply to all apps, not just the ones owned by foreign companies. Without that, banning TikTok feels more like a band-aid than a real solution. The problem isn't just TikTok, it's how our data is handled across the board. Global reactions and effects on TikTok. What's happening outside the US? While America debates banning TikTok, the rest of the world isn't staying quiet. In India, TikTok has been banned since 2020, leaving millions of users and thousands of influencers stranded. But TikTok didn't crumble. ByteDance pivoted and focused on other regions like Europe, where it continues to thrive. A US ban on TikTok would be a massive blow for ByteDance, the app's parent company. TikTok has over 170 million users in the US alone, contributing heavily to its global success. The app drives billions in revenue, with TikTok-related spending boosting the US economy by $24.2 billion, including $15 billion from small businesses using the platform for ads and promotions. Globally, ByteDance earned $17 billion outside China in 2022, with TikTok playing a leading role. Beyond revenue, a US ban could hurt TikTok's brand value and market position. ByteDance, currently valued at around $300 billion, relies heavily on TikTok's growth. The move might also encourage other countries, especially in Europe or Australia, to consider similar bans following India's 2020 decision to block TikTok due to national security concerns. This trend is fueled by increasing tensions with China, as Western governments worry about potential misuse of data or propaganda. Losing multiple markets would severely shrink TikTok's global influence, allowing competitors like Instagram and YouTube to take over. In short, a US ban wouldn't just be about losing users. It could trigger a domino effect that impacts TikTok's dominance worldwide and shifts the entire social media landscape. Conclusion: is the TikTok ban necessary or sufficient? So, is banning TikTok the answer? Well, it's complicated. On one hand, there are valid concerns about data security and propaganda. But on the other hand, focusing only on TikTok feels like missing the bigger picture. And then there's the question of fairness. TikTok's popularity and innovation have pushed American tech giants to step up their game. But are we really protecting users or just trying to crush competition? Whether TikTok stays or goes, one thing is clear: we need to do more to protect users, no matter which app they're on. What do you think? Is banning TikTok a step in the right direction, or are we just scratching the surface of a bigger issue? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the business and politics of tech, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. We got plenty more stories that break down the big issues. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss what's coming next.